Chained in a cave for centuries, an alien woman is discovered by a human. Now she's bound to him. The cavern walls shimmered with an otherworldly blue phosphorescence as Dr. Nova Reich carefully made her way deeper into the newly discovered chamber. Her archaeologist's instincts told her this was unlike any site she'd explored before. The rock itself seemed to pulse with a faint energy, and strange crystalline formations jutted from the walls in impossible geometric patterns. "Base, are you still receiving?" She spoke into her comm unit, adjusting the lighting on her helmet. "Clear signal, Dr. Wright," came the response. "Any signs of the energy signature we detected?" "Getting stronger," Nova replied, consulting her handheld scanner. "Whatever's causing these readings, it's just ahead." She'd spent her career studying ancient civilizations across the colonies, but nothing had prepared her for what they'd found on this remote moon. The initial surveys had detected unusual energy patterns deep underground, but what they'd discovered was far more than simple artifacts or ruins. The passage widened into a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in darkness above. At its center stood a towering crystalline structure, geometric patterns swirling across its surface like liquid light. But it was what lay within that made Nova's breath catch. A figure floated in suspension, surrounded by a field of shimmering energy. Humanoid, but clearly not human. Her skin had a subtle iridescent quality, and delicate patterns traced across her features like living circuitry. She appeared to be sleeping, yet there was something regal in her bearing even in stasis. "Base, you need to see this," Nova whispered, activating her video feed. "We found someone." The figure was bound by bands of light that pulsed in sync with the crystal chamber. Ancient script Nova didn't recognize spiraled around the bands, giving them an appearance somewhere between technology and magic. As Nova approached, her scanner began to chirp more urgently. The energy readings were off the charts, but they were also unstable. The stasis field was failing. "Dr. Wright, our systems are detecting critical fluctuations," Base warned. "You need to evacuate immediately." But Nova couldn't leave, not when they were about to lose whatever knowledge this chamber held. More importantly, she couldn't abandon someone who might need help, even if they weren't human. The crystal structure groaned, hairline fractures spreading across its surface. Nova had to make a choice: retreat to safety or risk everything to save this mysterious being. She reached for the control panel beside the chamber, her fingers flying over the ancient symbols. The stasis field flickered dangerously. "I'm shutting it down manually," she reported. "Stand by for emergency medical support." The crystal chamber shattered with a sound like breaking glass, energy cascading outward in a brilliant wave. Nova threw up her arms to shield herself, but instead of harm, she felt only a gentle warmth wash over her. When she lowered her arms, the mysterious woman stood before her, eyes open and alert. They were silver, like starlight given form, and held wisdom that spoke of centuries lived. "I am Starweaver Senna," she spoke, her voice musical yet carrying undertones of power. "You have freed me from my prison, and by the ancient laws, I am bound to you until my debt is repaid." Nova shook her head. "I don't want to bind anyone. I just wanted to help." A small smile touched Senna's lips. "Nevertheless, what is done is done. The question now is not whether we are bound, but what we shall do with that bond." Before Nova could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the complex. The chamber's security systems were activating, ancient machines grinding to life. "We need to move," Nova said urgently. "This whole place is becoming unstable." Senna nodded, her expression growing serious. "Yes, they will be coming for me soon. My awakening will not go unnoticed." "They? Who are they?" "Those who imprisoned me. Those who feared what I might become." Senna's eyes met Nova's. "And now they will fear what we might become together." The ground trembled beneath them as they made their way back through the tunnels, the first tremors of a storm that would shake the foundations of two civilizations. Nova had sought knowledge in these caves, but she'd found something far more valuable and far more dangerous. A truth that had been buried for centuries, waiting to be unleashed upon the stars once more. The research facility's quarantine chamber felt sterile and cold compared to the ancient caverns. Nova watched through the observation window as medical staff conducted their examinations of Senna. The Starweaver sat with perfect posture, her silver eyes taking in everything with quiet curiosity. "Her biological readings are unlike anything we've seen," Dr. Harrison reported, scrolling through data on his tablet. the energy patterns in her cellular structure. It's as if she's partially merged with some kind of advanced technology. Nova nodded, remembering the circuitry-like patterns that traced Senna's skin. Has she said anything about why she was imprisoned? Nothing specific. She'll only really talk to you, Dr. Wright. Of course she would. Their bond, whatever it truly meant, seemed to create a unique connection between them. Nova could feel it like a subtle warmth in the back of her mind, a awareness of Senna's presence that defied explanation. Later, when the medical team had finished, Nova entered the quarantine chamber alone. Senna turned to her immediately, a slight smile touching her lips. Your people are thorough in their examinations, she observed, though their technology is charmingly primitive. Nova sat across from her. Why were you imprisoned, Senna? The truth this time. The Starweaver's expression grew distant. My people, the Celestial Assembly, believe in perfect order. Every individual has their designated role, their prescribed path. I dared to suggest there might be another way. What way was that? Evolution. Change. The freedom to choose one's own destiny. Senna's patterns flickered with subtle light. I developed abilities that frightened them. The power to alter reality itself, to weave the very fabric of space and time. Nova leaned forward. Show me. Senna raised her hand, and the air between them began to shimmer. Tiny points of light coalesced, forming a miniature galaxy that rotated slowly above her palm. Stars wheeled and danced, nebulae bloomed and faded, all perfectly recreated in microscopic detail. This is nothing, Senna said softly. A parlor trick. The true power lies in the ability to reshape what is possible, to break the chains of causality itself. And that's why they feared you. They feared what others might become if they followed my example. Freedom is infectious, Nova Wright. Once people realize they can choose their own path, the old order begins to crumble. The miniature galaxy dissolved, its light fading away. Nova could see the weight of centuries in Senna's eyes, the burden of knowledge too vast for any one being to bear alone. What happens now? Nova asked. Now, they will come for me. The Assembly has waited centuries to ensure their perfect order remained unchanged. They will not simply allow me to walk free. Let them come, Nova said firmly. Earth's governments will protect you. We can. No, Senna's voice was gentle but firm. Your world is not ready for the storm that's coming. The Assembly's technology is far beyond anything your people have encountered. They would burn your civilization to ash just to reclaim me. Nova felt a chill run down her spine. Then what can we do? Senna reached out, her fingers brushing Nova's hand. A spark of energy passed between them. And for a moment, Nova glimpsed fragments of possibility, countless futures branching out before them like streams of light. We prepare, Senna said. I will teach you what I know, and you will help me understand your world. Together, we might find a path that leads to freedom for both our peoples. The bond between them hummed with potential, a bridge between two civilizations that could either lead to salvation or destruction. As Nova looked into Senna's starlit eyes, she knew their journey was only beginning. The facility's archives were quiet in the early morning hours. Nova sat surrounded by holographic displays, each showing different aspects of the data they'd recovered from the crystal chamber. Beside her, Senna moved her hands in intricate patterns, teaching her the basic forms of star weaving. Focus on the space between moments, Senna instructed. Reality isn't fixed. It flows like water, and with the right touch, it can be redirected. Nova concentrated, trying to feel the subtle currents Senna described. For a brief instant, she felt something, like catching a glimpse of light beneath water, before it slipped away. I don't understand how this is even possible, Nova admitted. It contradicts everything we know about physics. Senna's expression softened. Your science is young. It sees the universe as a machine, operating by fixed rules. But reality is more like music. It responds to harmony and resonance. The Starweavers learn to sing with the cosmic frequencies. Their training session was interrupted by an urgent alert from the facility's security systems. Nova pulled up the notification, her heart racing as she read the message. Multiple unknown objects just appeared in orbit, she reported. They're not using any known form of propulsion. Senna's patterns dimmed slightly. The Assembly. They found us sooner than I expected. The holographic displays flickered, showing the alien vessels, sleek crystalline structures that seemed to bend light around them. They were beautiful and terrifying, like shards of frozen starlight. "There's something you haven't told me," Nova said, studying Senna's face. "This isn't just about them fearing your powers, is it?" Senna was quiet for a long moment. "No, I discovered something just before they imprisoned me. A truth that would shatter the foundation of their perfect order." "What truth?" "The Assembly. They're not what they claim to be. They present themselves as guardians of cosmic harmony, but they're parasites. They feed on the potential of other civilizations, stunting their growth to maintain their own power." Nova felt her blood run cold. "What do you mean, feed?" "Every race they've encountered, they've bound in chains of order and regulation. They suppress innovation, restrict technological development, all while claiming it's for the greater good. But the truth is, they need that stagnation. They can only maintain their power by ensuring no one else ever reaches their level." The implications were staggering. "And humanity? What are their plans for us?" "They've been watching your people for centuries, waiting until you reached the right level of development. Soon, they would have revealed themselves as benevolent guides, offering to help humanity join their grand assembly, while ensuring we never become a threat," Nova finished. Senna nodded. "I couldn't allow it. Not again. Not after seeing it happen to so many others. That's why they feared me, not just for my powers, but for my knowledge, for my willingness to stand against their great lie." The security alerts became more urgent. The assembly ships were moving into position around the planet. "We're out of time," Senna said, rising. "They'll try to take me back, to bury the truth again. But this time, I'm not alone." Nova stood with her, their bond humming with shared purpose. "What do? We show them that humanity won't be so easily chained." Senna's patterns began to glow brighter. "Your people have something the Assembly has forgotten. The capacity for change, for growth, for defying the impossible. They'll try to stop us." Senna's smile held a fierce pride. "Let them try. They imprisoned me because they feared what one Starweaver could do. Now they face a Starweaver who has found something worth fighting for. Freedom, truth, and a future undefined by their perfect order." The bond between them pulsed with possibility as alarms began to sound throughout the facility. Above, the assembly ships began their descent, their crystalline forms casting prismatic shadows across the land. The time for secrets was over. Now would come the test of everything they'd built together. The assembly's arrival transformed the sky into a cascade of crystalline light. Their ships descended like falling stars, each one a masterpiece of geometric perfection. Nova stood with Senna on the facility's observation deck, watching as humanity's first contact with the Celestial Assembly unfolded in a way no one had anticipated. "They're broadcasting," the facility's communications officer reported. It's being transmitted on all frequencies, in every language." The message echoed through the facility's speakers. "People of Earth, we come in peace. We are the Celestial Assembly, guardians of cosmic harmony. We offer guidance, order, and a place among the stars." Senna's patterns flickered with barely contained anger. Listen to their words, so reasonable, so benevolent. They've had centuries to perfect their deception. Nova felt the bond between them pulse with shared emotion. "How do we expose the truth? We show them what they fear most. Freedom." Senna reached out, taking Nova's hand. Energy crackled between them, and Nova felt her awareness expand. Through their connection, she could see what Senna saw, the flowing currents of reality itself, waiting to be shaped. The Assembly's representatives materialized in the facility's main chamber, tall, ethereal beings wrapped in crystalline armor that seemed to capture and reflect starlight. Their leader, Archonvex, stepped forward with fluid grace. "Starweaver Senna," the Archon's voice resonated with artificial harmony. "Your imprisonment was meant to be eternal. This disruption cannot be allowed." Senna stood proud, her patterns blazing. "Your perfect order is built on lies, Archon. Humanity deserves to choose its own path." "Choice breeds chaos," Vex responded. "We have guided countless civilizations to enlightenment. Through order, all find peace. Through stagnation, you mean?" Nova interjected. "Through suppression of growth and potential." The Archon's crystalline mask turned toward her. A human, defending one who would unleash chaos upon the cosmos. "You cannot comprehend the forces you meddle with." "I comprehend enough," Nova replied. I've seen what Senna can do, what she's teaching me to do. You're not guardians. You're parasites, feeding on the dreams of other races. The air grew heavy with tension as more assembly representatives appeared, surrounding them in a circle of crystalline armor and barely contained power. You leave us no choice, Vex declared. For the sake of cosmic harmony, this world must be contained. The assembly members raised their hands in unison, energy building around them like a gathering storm. But Senna was faster. Her patterns erupted with light as she wove reality itself, creating a barrier around herself and Nova. Show them, Senna whispered. Show them what humanity's potential truly looks like. Nova closed her eyes, feeling the currents of reality through their bond. Together, they began to weave something new. Not the rigid patterns of assembly control, but something wild and beautiful, a harmony of chaos and order that spoke of infinite possibility. The facility's instruments went haywire as space itself began to ripple and fold. The assembly members stepped back, their perfect formation wavering as they witnessed power they thought they had contained centuries ago, now amplified by human creativity and determination. This is impossible, Vex declared. Humans are not capable of such manipulation. That's exactly your problem, Nova said, her voice steady despite the energy coursing through her. You've spent so long controlling others. You've forgotten what genuine growth looks like. The barrier around them expanded, pushing back against the assembly's power. Through their bond, Nova could feel Senna's fierce pride and determination. They were no longer mentor and student, but equals united in purpose. The battle for Earth's future had begun, and the assembly was about to learn that some things could not be contained by their perfect order. The battle between order and possibility reached its crescendo as reality itself seemed to hang in the balance. The assembly's crystalline ships filled the sky, their presence a weight pressing down on the world below. But within the facility, something unprecedented was taking shape. Nova and Senna moved in perfect synchronization, their combined powers creating patterns of energy that defied the assembly's rigid structures. Through their bond, they shared not just power but understanding. Millennia of Starweaver knowledge merged with human innovation and creativity. This ends now, Archon Vex declared, his crystalline armor crackling with barely contained energy. You cannot be allowed to spread this chaos. You still don't understand, Senna replied, her patterns pulsing with fierce determination. What you call chaos, we call growth. What you fear as disorder, we embrace as potential. Nova felt the currents of reality flowing through their bond, responding to their shared will. Your perfect order is just another form of death, she added. Life needs change to thrive. The assembly members advanced, their combined power pressing against the barrier Nova and Senna had created. But instead of fighting directly against their force, Nova had an idea. Senna, she whispered through their bond, what if we show them what they've lost? Understanding flowed between them. Together, they began to weave not a shield or a weapon, but a window, a glimpse into possibility itself. The air between them shimmered, and suddenly the chamber was filled with visions of what could be. They showed worlds where technology and nature danced in harmony, civilizations that reached for the stars without losing their souls, futures where diversity bred strength rather than weakness. Through their combined power, they revealed the cost of the assembly's perfect order. The dreams unrealized, the potential forever locked away. This is what you fear, Nova challenged, her voice carrying the weight of human determination. This beauty, this possibility. Some of the assembly members faltered, their perfect formation wavering as doubt crept in. Centuries of rigid certainty began to crack in the face of undeniable truth. Archon Vex raised his hands, gathering power for one final assault. We will not allow. It's not yours to allow, Senna interrupted. Her patterns blazed like captured starlight as she stepped forward. The time of the assembly's control is over. We offer a different path. Through their bond, Nova and Senna reached out, not to destroy but to transform. The energy they had gathered didn't strike at the assembly members. It enveloped them, showing each one the weight of their own chains, the beauty of the freedom they had denied themselves. One by one, the assembly members lowered their weapons. The crystalline ships above began to power down, their oppressive presence fading from the sky. Archon Vex stood alone, his perfect order shattered. What have you done? We've given them choice, Nova answered. The same choice you tried to deny humanity. the freedom to find their own way. The bond between Nova and Senna pulsed with triumph and possibility. They had done more than just defeat the assembly. They had opened a door that could never truly be closed again. In the days that followed, as humanity grappled with the reality of their place in a much larger cosmos, Nova and Senna worked to build bridges between worlds. The assembly's power was broken, but its people weren't destroyed. They were transformed, learning to embrace the very change they had once feared. What happens now? Nova asked one evening, as they watched the stars together from the facility's roof. Senna's patterns rippled with contentment. Now we explore what's possible. The bond between us proved that different paths can lead to something greater than either could achieve alone. Nova smiled, feeling the warmth of their connection. A harmony of chaos and order. A future undefined by fear. Senna corrected. One will shape together. Above them, the stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the potential they had unleashed. Their bond, formed in an ancient cave and tested in the crucible of conflict, had become something new. A bridge between worlds, a promise of possibilities yet to come. The assembly's perfect order had been replaced by something far more precious, the freedom to choose, to grow, to become more than what others had decreed. And in that freedom, both humanity and the former assembly would find their way to a future brighter than either could have imagined alone.